I had a hell of a time finding this place. My GPS told me it was down the road, and I stopped and asked directions twice. He's
Yeah, I got a better technique, but only thing I ever found those bottles here.
everybody driving.
Yeah, you most of them. Yeah, a lot of them are.
I don't know what we're doing, but I'm following the lead. I am a member of the National Club. This is the one for this one here. Are you a member of the National one too? Yeah. Do you prospect?
I ain't found no place to.
Well, I've never done it. I watched the videos. I bought the kit and stuff, and I've looked around. The only place in Ohio is up in Bell Fountain, and that's as far, if not further than here. And I got this thing in the mail, and I'm just coming down here. I'll get this guy.
This will be our first official meeting as a GPAA chapter. It's called the Nitro chapter. We decided to join. I've got two sign-up sheets over there. One is for the West Virginia Gold Seekers, which we are a nonprofit organization. And we're here to help train. I try to teach people the proper way of using metal detectors, gold equipment, whatever they want to learn. I'm going to try every month to have somebody in here to teach or train, either a geologist or somebody. It's up to you all what you all want to do. If we get this set up, I think it'll be a good group in this area. I've had lots of inquiries. Jim DeWeese is here from Latonic, West Virginia. He's got another chapter over there now. So there has to be interest in this or we wouldn't have a turnout. But this month I've invited Archie Morris, if I can find him.
Back up on you.
Yeah. I'm going to turn it over to him for a little bit, let him talk on some metal detecting. I don't know exactly what he's going to talk on, but
Well, I'm going to talk both about the gold and GPA and metal detecting, so get some matter.
okay.
And then afterwards, you want to ask questions.
If you're not out
Can you hear me if I talk without this? Most of you? I'll try and talk loud. First off, I want to thank Joe for putting this on and taking the time and effort. If you don't know, it takes a lot of work to do this kind of thing, to get a chapter set up and get everything going. And Jim knows that over here from his. And Ray, we got another celebrity here, Ray Martin and his wife Lona. They're from over Kentucky, Ohio, Ironton area. He's the president of the Southern Ohio Tri-State chapter of the Gold Prospectors Association, which I was associated with. I was vice president for several years. He's the president. We went in together. He's still there. He's the president. And so he's an expert. Now, you know what an expert is, don't you? Somebody's at least 50 miles away from home. Well, see, I'm not 50 miles away because I live up off Many Shoals. Ray's way off. The other one is X is a has-been, and a drip is spurt under pressure. So an expert, that part I probably qualify for. Okay? So I'll let Ray talk here in a little bit also. He's also the state claims director for the state of Kentucky. I'm the one from the state of Ohio. Now, they really pay a lot to do this job. I think it comes out to maybe $1 a week, if you're lucky, because all they do is pay for your annual dues, and that's it. The rest of it's free grab. So he and I make about $1 a week, whether we work or not. So that's the way that goes. Okay, let's see. Prospecting. The thing about prospecting with the GPAA or any other organization that involves prospecting for gold or any other mineral, generally the reason you're in it is to have a good time, to get out in nature and do things. If you're in it because you think you're going to make a lot of money doing it, then you're going to be very sorely disappointed. Because around here, or anywhere, if you're going to do it to make money as a means of making money, you're going to have to work at it just like you do a job. 40 hours a week, maybe more, to make enough out of it to pay for your time. So look at it as an outdoor thing. If you like to fish, if you like to hunt, if you like to picnic, if you like to hike, this is just another outdoor activity that you can enjoy. And if you find any gold at all, think about this. You're the first person to ever lay eyes on that piece of mineral. The first person. So it's rather exciting if you do that. Most of the gold you'll find in this area is going to be real fine. And I got some here from Ohio. I don't know whether Ray bought any or not, but it's real fine looking stuff. It's not very big, but it takes some work to get it. Let me see if I can get this out of here. Now here we go. If you look at it, it's just real fine, flowery stuff. Now, you might be able to find a few pickers or little bits of pieces. There's a piece of wire gold in here. It's a little bit long. So that's one. Now, if you go down to the Carolinas, you go to Georgia, you're going to find some pieces a little bigger. And here's one that's unusual. I happened to win this one. You're not going to find this around here. I won that in a drawing at the Gold Festival in North Carolina a couple years ago. But it's a unique little piece. It weighs just under 1/3 of an ounce. So these are things that you can look forward to if you want to go to the Carolinas and Georgia. You'll find some bigger pieces of gold. If you go out west, you'll find even bigger pieces because they got a lot of stuff out there. But around here, you're not going to find. If you do, you're going to be lucky. So look at it as a good outdoor activity that you can go out with your family. Now, my kids are all grown. My wife doesn't do it because she's too impatient. She doesn't have the patience to paint stuff. She doesn't have the patience to go and metal detect, even though I got one she can use. Pretty simple. So, but she lets me do my thing, and she does hers, and we're happy with it. So think of it as a fun thing to do, and if you make money at it, that's icing on the cake. Okay? Now, let's see what other things I got on the notes here. Oh, there are basically about four ways to gold prospect. First off, the pan. If most of you in here pan for gold at all, a lot of you, okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is a stream sluice. The third would be a power sluice, they call it now, or it's commonly known as a high banker. And the fourth would be a dredge. They also have a high banker dredge combination you can use. But my suggestion to most people is, if you never pan, or try panning first, because you don't want to get a big expense into something you don't know for sure that you're going to continue with. You can get dredges and high bankers, they cost up to $1,000 or more. You're getting a lot of money in it. A sluice is not so bad. You get a decent one for $100 or so. Pans, of course, are pretty cheap. But the one thing drawback on just a sluice box is they're only good in fast-moving water. They're not good in the slow river like over in Ohio where the claim is the GPA. Most of you realize that there is a claim that's sponsored by the GPAA over near Lucasville, Ohio, on the side of the river. If you're a GPAA member, you can go anytime and pan or high bank or whatever for gold over there. And if you want to bring a friend, how many? You bring up to four people that aren't GPAA members with you, but they have to be with you if you go. So they have a nice place over there. They've even got electric hookups and things like that. And they've spent a lot of time and a lot of money getting that put together. So those are the things I thought I'd mention to you. Don't spend a lot of money until you know that it's going to be something you want to spend some time with and enjoy. Because if there's nothing any worse than spending money, you don't use it, the equipment, and then you get down on it because you got your money tied up and nothing's happening. So you can start out easy. That's what I did. And let me tell you this, if you've never panned, get somebody that knows how to do it to show you, because that's what I did the first time I went over there. If I hadn't had somebody show me, I'd been slopping it all, the gold out right in the river. Because it's hard to find if you don't know what you're looking for. If you know what you're looking for, then you can spot it real easy in the black sand. Now around here I found little teeny bits. Joe and some other people found more, and that's what they're working on. So I'll let them talk about that if they want to. Metal detecting. I've been doing a lot more of that lately. There are all kinds of metal detectors. You can get, and when I say cheap, I don't mean a cheap metal detector, I mean more inexpensive. Joe's got one over here, it's an H250. My son has one just like it. You'd be surprised what all he's finding with that, and only costs less than $250. It's a real good Garrett, it's a Garrett. I use the whites, it just so happened that's what I saw when I was watching the advertisement on TV, so I bought a whites, and I've got 2 of those. That one is easy to operate, it's not complicated, and you don't want things so complicated you get frustrated trying to use them. So that's one. Let's see, Garrett has them, Whites has them, Fisher's got them. Those are 3 I can think of. You probably have the inexpensive ones that are easy to operate. Ray may think of some others. The magazines have all kinds of them listed. When you get Gold Prospector magazine, or if you sign up for Lost Treasures magazine. The Gold Prospector magazine comes with your membership. You'll get one about every 2 months. Got a lot of interesting stuff in it. This month they had about Billy the Kid and a bunch of other things. So that's a good magazine, and it's a lot of fun. So is the Lost Treasures, which is primarily for metal detecting, but they also talk about gold prospecting in that also. And you got, if you get into gold prospecting with a metal detector, you're going to get into a lot of the expensive type, because those kind, the only kind of gold they'll find maybe is a gold ring or something like that. They're not going to find a small piece of gold that you'd be looking for with a metal detector. So you're going to get into some pretty high prices. You'll be lucky to find anything under, what, $700, $800 that's going to find gold in the ground other than a gold ring or something like that. When you're metal detecting with a metal detector, your gold will fall in the same classification that nickels and pop tops fall in. It drive you crazy. I've found a lot of nickels, but I've dug a lot of pop tops trying to find them. Probably 15 or 20 to 1. I found over 400 nickels, but think of how many pop tops. I probably found 2,000 or 3,000 pop tops to get those 400 nickels. But it did pay off one day a couple of weeks ago because I thought I was either going to get a pop top or a ring, or a nickel, and I decided to dig for it, and it was the first little gold ring I've ever found. So I was really surprised at that. So those are things on metal detecting that you want to take into consideration. Let's see. Let me tell you things you need with the metal detector. First thing I would suggest you do is give away apron like this. Pretty simple. Some places give them away. You put it on, you put your fines, good fines in one side, and your trash in the other. You always carry the trash away that you dig up, because that's one of the things I tell people. The other thing is that when you go to dig a target, you always put everything back the way it was. You're going to need a knife. This is one I got when I got one of my metal detectors. It came with a whole lot of other stuff. These things run about $60 when they're new and you buy them. But you can get any kind of a sharp knife will do. That's what I used before I ended up with this thing. So any kind of sharp knife you might use in the kitchen, and you can get them cheap. You don't have to get an expensive knife to cut a hole, take the dirt out or the plug out. Then you're going to have to dig any further, lay that cloth down. You can see I've used this one. Kind of dirty, and you put the dirt on. Then what you do when you get through doing that is put the dirt back when you found the target, put the dirt back in, put the plug back, stomp it down, and leave it as much as you can the way it was before, because you don't want to make it hard on people, because other people come later, because you leave a hole in the ground, and people just don't like to have holes left and dirt and all that other stuff. So that's what you want to do when you metal detect. You're also going to need headphones. This is a white DFX. Headphones do 2 things. One, blocks out the noise outside. It also hears the smaller sounds. And then also, it saves on your battery. Any battery you're using, if you use headsets, the batteries last longer. So those are the 3 main things about having a headset. You don't have to have real expensive. This is probably a good line. It's worked fine. Another thing is you're going to need a pinpoint, because you can find it without one, and I did for a long time, but finally I got a pinpointer. White's makes them, Garrett makes them. This is the Garrett Pro pointer. I found this to be better than the White's, quite frankly, because it'll pick up, you know, it'll pick up big things at a distance. You can get in the hole sometimes and you have trouble finding which side to go on because it pick up all the way around. But this works really well. So you get a pinpoint. You want Whites or some other one. I like a Garrett. I've used the Whites. If you get close to the target, the Whites works real good. How many of you have trouble with your knees? A lot of people do, don't they? Okay. Here's what I do. A lot of people, they'll use knee pads. Strap them on. I can't do that because it bothers the back of my leg. So I just got one of these things you use when you're planting flowers and stuff. I carry it around, I get a target, lay it on the ground, put my knees on, it's nice and soft, you know, and then I get up and go again. And I got a scoop. You can buy these kinds of things. This came with some of the stuff I bought. You can buy a plastic scoop for like kids use, you know, and to dig down in there. One reason you want to use a scoop a lot of times, after you open up the target area, is if you use a knife and keep doing it, you might damage the target. If it's a nice coin, and you get that, make a scratch. And I did that on the back of a real nice coin. It's not bad, but it's not good either. And that was accidental because it happened when I made the first or second dig with it. So get you a plastic scoop, and you dig the dirt out with it, and then you can find the target. So those are some of the main things that you want to consider whenever you're going to metal tech. Metal teching is a lot of fun. This is the more expensive one. It's got a microprocessor in it. And somebody I was talking to, John Barker, I think it was, he didn't want one that was too complicated to operate. This one can be complicated. I still look at things in the book to know how to operate this thing or to try and get the best out of it. So if you don't want complicated, get something like that one, the 250. They got a 350. You can look in, go to Calico in Florida. They got every brand you can think of, and they sell them at a discount. I got this one way discounted on a sale with a special from White's and from them. It's $1,400 worth of stuff for $960 because they had a special, and I got it the day the special was going off, and I made the decision to buy it. Also, when you get a tester, get one that will tell you depth on it. That one will do that. One of mine I have won't do that. It will activate. That'll indicate 8 inches of flux. So you have an idea. It's not going to be exactly right because of the distance you have on the ground, but it'll give you an idea that it's down there a ways or it's near the top. So that's what you want to do, and that'll also give you an indication of what might be there. It's a coin, 50-cent piece, quarter, a dime, or if it's a piece of trash, you don't want to have to do. So I think that that's most of the things that I had to talk about. The other thing is, I got some magazines here. Mining guide. One thing you do when you're going to gold prospectors, they'll send you a mining guide as to where all the places they have in the United States and Canada that you can go as a GPA member and prospect. Okay? And you can go anytime, but you can get into the claim. Some of them are a little harder to get into than others because of where they're located. Another thing, in West Virginia, they do have some regulations about prospecting. And I got a copy of that, and I think Joe has a copy, and maybe even Jim. I think I gave them one too when I was there last time his place. One is, and I'll read this, it's very short. No permit is required to pan for gold or use a metal detector in the streams of West Virginia. However, any activity that might be similar to commercial operations such as a sluice box, and I'm assuming that's a large operation where you're really messing up the stream, would require a permit. So that's basically, it's like a pan, bucket, and shovel. Now in the National Forest, I got one for those. It's basically the same thing, except they also recite certain times of year you can't prospect in streams that have trout in them because you'll mess up the spawning and so forth. So if you want to look at either one of these, I could leave just an extra copy. I got the originals at home. You can do that also. Right around here, I don't think you have a problem, but I don't think there's any native trout streams around this area. So that's what you gotta be careful. Now, when you're doing international force, used to be, you took a bucket, a pan, and a shovel, that was okay. Now then, they kinda want you to let them know you're coming. If you wanna find the force rangers, that's still the case. It used to be, you just go in, and as long as you had those things, you're okay. Now then, you need to let the ranger know that you're gonna be in there. You probably still won't have a problem, but at least they know what you're there for and what you're doing. If you're using a metal detector and you come across any artifacts, if it's an artifact, you gotta leave it there and notify them, because if you dig an artifact up and take it out, that's against the law. And how much is the fine, and how long for you to go to jail?
5 years, $25,000 fine.
Okay, 5 years in jail, a $25,000 fine if you find an artifact. Now, that doesn't mean coins and stuff unless it's an Indian coin that they made some time ago. So those are the things you gotta be careful of, that you don't get into trouble, digging or whatever. You don't dig on the bank. A high banker doesn't mean you dig the bank out. You dig in the stream. Stay within the stream bed or where the water comes up when it's up a little bit, but don't dig into banks and things. That is probably everywhere. The prospect. They don't want you digging into the bank and causing erosion. If you're in the stream or next to the stream and the rocks and all that stuff, you can dig in all that and it's not going to be a problem. So that's basically what I had. If you want to look here, I got information of where you can call Calico. They got an 800 number if you want to call about some of their equipment. They got anything and everything you can think of as far as, I just bought this one right here. They had a good price on that coil. It's a butterfly coil. It normally comes with a 950 round one, which I got, which works good. This one I'm just trying out. So if anybody has any questions right away, I'll try and answer them.
Will it go virus come to Charleston? Will that back over the cruise forward?
That I don't know. I've never dealt with them, so I couldn't tell you that. Mostly, the problem with that is when they buy gold coins, they know what the content is. When you buy raw gold, you don't know exactly what the content of the gold is because there'll be other minerals mixed in with it, so they may not know how to determine that. That's like that one piece I was showing you, that large one. That weighs just under a third of an ounce, but that may not be pure gold either. So they're going to have to find that out. Ray, is there a guy in Jackson who buys gold?
Company in Jackson, Ohio called Ohio Precious Metals. They're one of the largest smelters in the United States for gold and silver and any other platinum, rhodium. They have a Brings volume on site. They charge 6% of whatever the appraised value is. And what they'll do is they'll smelt it all down, tell you exactly what percentage is gold, what else is in it, take 6% of it and send you a check. They need a minimum of 2 ounces, and there have been days that they have gone through over $5 million worth of gold smelting it. They are a registered smelter with the United States government.
What's the name of the company now?
Ohio Precious Metals. You have to make an appointment with them. When you show up to Ohio Precious Metals, you'll buzz yourself in at the gate. They'll allow you to come in and park. You will go to the building, you'll buzz again, they'll verify you again, and they'll allow you into a holding area. Then they will have a security guard come verify who you are. He will leave for a few minutes and then come back and get with you and take you on in to work out whatever you want.
What town is it?
Where's this one?
Jackson, Ohio.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, it's quite secure there,
It's almost like a mini Fort Knox.
a little bit.
On the East Coast, a lot of your pawn shops, that's where all the gold and stuff is going, and that's when they're smelting it down. And they'll make different type of, if you want little mini buttons or something, they'll make them. If you ask them, I just want something made out of junk jewelry, like 14 karat or something, they'll even stamp those for you.
Yeah.
I
And they
think
will make coins. You can have them custom make coins for you.
I'll show you some.
the thing is, I'm not that familiar, but most of these other places are going to probably charge you more than 6% to melt their gold down, or to melt it, aren't they?
Most of these places you see, it says we buy gold. When it comes into the gold nuggets, they have no way of handling it. They give you about 50% of what the value of the nugget or gold is.
Excuse me, have they put a restriction on what you can take in the amount? They have a minimum requirement.
He said 2 ounces.
2 ounces.
Okay.
Good question.
He wants at least 2 ounces.
2 ounces, I can understand that. Anybody else have any other questions we can try and answer?
When you say 2 ounces, does that mean that the 2 ounces might not be all gold?
Might not be all gold, but
But-
it weighs out the gold material you have should weigh at least 2 ounces or more. You may end up with an ounce and 3/4 or something in the end after they extract the other metals. But as far as you know, that's 2 ounces or more.
Right, yeah.
Because you can't extract the metals.
There's some estimated points in Jackson.
And they do a real good job out there.
That's a good looking
Everybody I've
picture
known
of
that's
this.
dealt with the company has always been happy with what they've sent out.
Wow.
Uh,
You
weights
take
have
your
always
gold there and they
been
make it, you
about
mean?
6 things out and compare their weights. I've seen a lot of this.
Jackson. Is that one you took to Jackson?
I've got about 40 of those from him. Out there. I like it.
Any size button, they've got the molds.
Yeah, they've got the
Well,
molds for it.
Wow, that's pretty neat.
Also, when we, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? Good question so far. Oh, another thing on metal detecting, metal detect somewhere, if somebody else owns the property, before you go, you need to get their permission. Because first off, you don't want to go and somebody gets trespassing, you get you thrown in jail, or they come and throw you off and get shot. You know, not like to get shot, but somebody come and be mad at you or something. If you metal detect on an area that's public, and yet somebody like you metal detect between the road and the street, and which is public property, and there's no ordinance in the city that says you can't do it, somebody's mowing that and they come by and they say they'd rather you didn't do that, just pick up and go on, don't argue with it. You don't want to argue with anybody over that, because they're taking care of it, they don't want you there, you just might as well move on down the street, go somewhere else, down the street. I've only had that part happen one time, and so I said, okay, and I just went on down the street and started again.
Might also mention about state parks.
Oh, yeah, state park. I don't think you're allowed in the state parks. If you go to one, you might want to ask somebody who's in charge of the state park. State forest as well. They're controlled differently than the federal, the Monongahela Hill National Forest is. So you need to check. I went into the one in all forest. Nobody ever said anything, but nobody was around. But I think somebody said that they questioned that, or they ran somebody out of that. Now, if you want to go further downstream, where the road right of way is, and do Davis Creek, you can do that. I've done that before too. So yeah, you got to be careful where you're going. In Nitro, for instance, I'll just give you this. You can pretty much, in public areas in Nitro, because Castro, I'm talking about different places, but between the street and the sidewalk, they sold that property to some of the people who live on the other side of the sidewalk. So you don't know for sure what's privately owned and what isn't. So I just avoided that. Unless you go and ask the person, did you buy this over here? Because he said that part of that's been sold. You want to go out there and ride an hour lake or whatever it is, you can go out there and metal detect. I've done it. I asked him one time about it. He said, sure. Just put everything back like you. Another real good place, if you're not interested, don't worry about the quality, trying to find silver and stuff. The metal detectors go in gravel parking lots. You find a lot of change there where people get out and they drop it from the pocket when they get the keys in and out and so forth. I found a lot of stuff that you're not going to find due to silver coins or wheat pennies or anything, but you can find a lot of stuff that way. It's a good way to get started practicing. You get to hear the sound on your phone as to what things sound like and so forth. Anybody else? Nobody? Okay. Joe, I'm going to let Ray talk a minute, and he can talk about what they do over there and different things, if you don't mind. Okay.
Thanks, Archie.
Ray.
Thank you.
I'll say this seat.
Southern Ohio Tri-State Chapter like to donate a bag of Tom and Perry's cleanup gold for you. For you to write for off or whatever you want to do with it.
We'll start this, next meeting, we'll start on this one.
Yeah, anything else you need, let us know. Arch and I started off with Southern Ohio chapter when it started to fail and was going under, and we had 3 members at the first meeting.
I've done that twice now. We had 3 actual members. Well, the first meeting we didn't have the 2 members. The second one we had more or less 2 members. This is my 3rd attempt. This time we've actually got all 3 of the officers, but I need more people to volunteer.
The GPAA just passed out postcards for you.
Yes.
Hell,
If they got it. Yeah. If they got it, that's this meeting date on mine. I said, his, wrong website.
Yeah. But, you know, we'll support both of you any way we can, help you grow. It's to everybody's advantage. Archie pretty well covered everything I was going to say for it. Thank you, Archie. But Archie,
something I know something about, then I get
I've been the president of Southern Ohio for 8 years, and Archie was my vice president for 6 of them. And we did real well. We finally got it up off the ground. It's a little struggle when you first start. You'll make mistakes, just like everyone, but it'll work out well. Don't have much to talk about. One thing I'd like to do, I've got some flyers here I'll leave for you. The 30th of this month, at the Lewis Plain in Lucasville, Ohio, we're having a Gold Prospector Day. It's free to everyone. We'll have competitions, we'll have metal detecting, nugget shoots where we'll give away a nugget, whatever balloons left, panning competitions. It's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We have metal detecting. We'll have over 50 antique coins, silver rounds, different things to prospect for. Whatever you find, you get to keep. So, and we have food and refreshments there. It's on donation, so it's pardon? Door prize. Door prize, yes. The door prize this year is a mini recirculating sluice to help you clean up your fine golds into a bucket. So we have a lot of things. Come on down, enjoy it. We'll have some prospecting equipment there for sale. We just have a great time. Usually we'll have between 60 and 120 people show up. If you want to come for the weekend and camp, we got a place for RV camping, tents, whatever you want to do. So hope to see a few people there. Yes.
You have a machine that separates the gold from black sand?
Yep, on separation of gold from black sand, there's lots of different ways of doing it. There's some chemical ways you can chemical leach it. Some people put it in, get an old iron skillet, heat the iron skillet up hot, put it in there, drop ice water on it, and it'll crack it out. There's a new kit out by Angus McGurk, where you can actually throw the black sands in with some chemicals, throw it in your microwave, and actually melt the gold right out of the black sands. Yeah, they say it works real well.
Down at Vane Mountain this past last month, they demonstrated the Vane Mountain Miners Association.
Okay.
Doug McCormick came over and he
Oh,
demonstrated
Doug came
that.
over? Okay.
It works very, very well. But
Do it outdoors and have it, buy your own cheap microwave.
Well, but you have to get at least a 1,200 watt microwave. You can't go to Walmart basically and get a 700 watt microwave. It won't get it hot enough to melt. The black sands become glass, and once they pour it off from the crucible into a mold or something, you've got to. It has to be hot enough to get rid of, to melt the gold and get rid of the black sand to the side. And it takes at least a 1,200 watt microwave.
But I would definitely recommend getting a separate microwave and do it outside, because some of the vapors that come off can be hazardous.
Well, gold, unfortunately, because of mercury operations, has mercury on it, so it'll kill you.
There is a
Man,
good
like man.
demonstration of that on YouTube too.
Yeah. There's other ways of separating. There's some other chemical leaches out there. The Egyptians, early on, when the Egyptians did their gold, to leach the gold out of the black sand, they used camel urine. The acidity in it was actually enough to crack the gold and crack the black sand, be able to separate it. So there's lots of different ways to do it. I've done the pan. heating it up real hot and throwing cold water on it does a pretty good job of it.
Mercury and a baked potato.
Mercury does well, but just be careful when you use mercury and make sure you got a retort to reclaim your mercury. But yeah, using mercury with your black sands in a little rock tumbler, leave it tumble for a day, gives you a nice chunk of mercury and black sands because it'll suck the gold in. Then you just run it through a retort and it just leaves the gold right in the bottom of the little cap.
We probably ought to have seminars on retorts, show people,
Yeah,
and there's a way to do it with baked potato.
well, I've never tried to bake potatoes. You got one on me there.
Fred's been around a long time.
Oh, I know he has. I know he has.
You gotta put the black sand in the ground, clean it, put back in.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
You have to put your black sand and mercury back into the soil, restore it back in area.
Well, yeah, you have to, it's like, again, mercury is hazardous to you, do it outside. But once you boil that mercury off through the retort, you recapture it at the other side and it's clean. Because you vaporized it, it's left everything else behind it. And you just reclaim it and you reuse it again. You may lose 3 or 4%.
Don't breathe any of it.
Don't breathe any of it. If you want to try to find mercury, if you know a heating and air conditioning guy,
Old thermostats.
the old thermostats have lots of mercury in it, and they'll be glad to give them to you. Saves them from having to recycle them.
I do have some samples of mercury gold over here that is coated with gold. You can also soak it in vinegar. Takes it off a little bit, it comes back, but there's so much on it. It's so much possible. We'll be glad to show after you all get through speaking.
Getting mercury off gold is not easy. I've gone out and got gold that actually had a little bit of mercury in it. I put it in a vial because I try to keep my vials from the same locations. And I made a mistake. I put that little piece of gold just lightly coated in mercury, and within a week the whole vial was covered with mercury. So then I had to go back, retort it all, and mercury will travel like crazy.
That's why they call it quicksilver.
Yeah, yeah. One other thing I wanted to mention for all the metal detectors out here, there's a website on the web, if you've got internet access, called myloststuff.com. And what it is, we're an organization of metal detectors throughout the United States and Canada, and we find things for people for free. What will happen once you join the group, they'll send you an email and say, this person lost a ring or something in this area. If you can respond to it if you want to do it. It's just a great way of helping people out and make sure they get their items back. And we've had a great time with this all over the United States. The only problem you have is sometimes you'll have someone says, well, back in January, I lost this down here on the beach. Well, it's probably gone by then. But yeah, it does. A lot of people are appreciative, and some of them will still offer you a reward no matter what. It's just myloststuff.com.
Raven, that'd be a good way to get into somebody's yard and Melotech. If they want you to find their ring, you can just go ahead and ask, say, well, I'll find your ring if I can, we'll do that. But if I find anything else, like silver coins and stuff, the wheat pennies, just ask them if you can keep that part and give them the ring. And I figure if you try that, if you can find that ring for them, they'll be glad to let you have the rest of the stuff.
Well, that's what happened to me. A lady in Catlettsburg lost her ring. She was out beating her filter out of her furnace, and her ring fell off her finger. She didn't know where it went. She looked for it for a few days. Got in contact with me. I went down and found her ring for her in about 15 minutes. And then I found out that the property she was on was the old racetrack, the old horse racing track they used to have down there in Catlettsburg. So now I have permission to go on her property. I have to contact her ahead of time. But I can actually go out there and prospect the old racetrack. Not found many coins, but I found a lot of the old belt buckles and stuff that held the harnesses and everything else on. But it's a lot of fun. It's just never done. I have something here that I hate to do. One of our members passed away here 3 weeks ago, and his wife has authorized me to sell all of his equipment. So we're going to try to have a lot of the equipment down here at the Gold Prospector Days. I have some prices and listing of equipment here. If you want to see me after the meeting for some of it, I'll be more than glad to work it out with you. And these prices are a little negotiable. An LDMA membership is in the neighborhood of $3,500 for the original membership. She's offering the LDMA membership. You can take an LDMA membership and sell it one time. Once you sell it, that membership can never be sold again. So this membership, you can purchase it, but you would never be able to resell it. And she's wanting $1,250 for the LDMA membership. She has a King 3-inch high banker complete. She's asking $1,250 for it also. It's about a $3,000 unit. It's motor, pump, all the hoses, everything. And all these were used last year. Her husband used them last year when they prospected. King large hand sluice for $100. The small hand sluice for $75. She has 2 metal detectors. She has a Bounty Hunter Tracker 4. She wants $125 for. And then a Tesoro Conquistador Max, which is a variable frequency for $150. She's got a Gold Magic spiral wheel for $200. Hip boots, male size 50, and she said these come up to the waist for $50, size 12. Lady size 8 is $50. And then she has a bunch of gold pans for $5, black tubs for 10, snuffer bottles for 4. And my wife and I will be going up to her place. She's up in Columbus, probably either tomorrow or sometime soon, because she has bags and duffel bags full of prospecting equipment that the lady has no idea what they are. But
Who is it?
that was John Vaughn.
Was he, did he run a pro line dealership?
No. The people that ran the pro line dealerships over in Ohio was Haskell Wright and Bob Cook.
Oh, there was one there in Columbus.
Well, I don't know who the one was in Columbus. They lived down in Chillicothe until 3 years ago when he developed cancer. And they moved to Columbus so that he would be close to the treatment centers. So that's about all I have to offer. Be glad to answer any questions. I wish both your chapters well.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Are you, on this black sand, are you finding enough gold that it's a problem getting the black sand out of it?
Oh, yes. You never throw away your black sand. Take a
Man,
magnet.
I mean, are you really actually finding enough gold?
I'll take all the black sand you want to give me.
Yeah,
Yep.
I will too.
I know what to do with it.
Did you have any gold from Lucasville?
Yes, my wife has some there.
Check out this right here. Don't drop it. That is glass.
Yeah, I know.
And y'all probably know me. It
Yeah.
took me 2 years to get that, and I was going over all the time. So I
Uh,
never had a problem other than I would redo my stuff. I've lost 7 pieces, a little, I call these micro specs. I've never had a problem getting the black sand out. Of course, you take a magnet, and of course, you can pan that
yeah,
out too. and
but the
go
black
on.
sand has gold in it. That black sand, even though it looks like it's black sand, there's gold inside of it.
Why-
It's
I-
flour gold.
My whole theory was, if I save all the black sand, I'll get all the gold. So I've got every piece of black sand that's ever come through my machine.
That's good. You just need to work
Been
it together. But I'm surprised that that's all you've gotten over there from working that long, because that's real fine if you take a
No,
look.
no, all I've got is one of the mini high bankers, but I've been over there and
Okay.
I let me use the new 3-inch grids, and got to use the, somebody had a homemade 2.5, got to use it, and a homemade, or 2-inch, used it.
One place they're finding a lot of good gold over to Lewis Claim right now is on the upper gravel bar. There's a road to the upper gravel bar, but I do not recommend driving out there. There's been several people that's been stuck, and it's $150 for a wrecker to come get you out. But if you walk out on the upper gravel bar and go upstream until the gravel bar ends, you'll look upriver, you'll see 3 riffles up there. Go up to those riffles and work them. We cannot go on the property, on the bank or anything up there, but the man has allowed us to go up to those riffles, and they're finding pickers and nuggets up there. We just got into it this last year.
I wanted to come up last week. I didn't get to.
Well, last weekend, we still didn't have gravel bars exposed. Due to all the rain that we've had up north, this weekend is the first weekend since March that we've been able to get back out on the gravel bars. And it's been 25 feet over those gravel bars at time down there. I mean, when you come in, we've got 2 levels. The upper cornfield is 6 feet underwater, almost ready to go up into the auto car lot.
Corn this year, not soybeans?
There's no corn this year.
Yeah.
There's no soybeans either. It went to,
Late start.
It's a wetland now.
well, part of the property, he's actually leased out to the state for wildlife preserve. So it's all up in hay, and you'll see deer and little everything's down there. We've even got a cat down there. We haven't figured out what it is yet. But the paw print is as big as my fist. And it's been down on the gravel bar. And it's bigger than bobcat. It's bigger, well, 8 miles from the claim, a guy found a black panther dead in his pond. So we're not supposed to carry firearms down there, but most of us would keep one in the car down there right now. I would. I mean, right now it's been so wet, there's not a lot of food out there for them.
Your food.
We could be. But, yeah, just be careful down there. Always go with someone if you can. Make sure someone's with you.
Do you have any stores in the state that sell metal detectors?
Pardon?
Do you have any stores that sell?
Yeah, there's lots of stores around. Several of your pawn shops in the area will sell metal detectors. I'm not familiar with here, but I know down in Ashland, the one down on Winchester, Tri-State Pawn, he sells metal detectors. He even sells a little bit of gold prospecting equipment.
Where's the Tri-State located? Where's the Tri-State located?
It's right on Winchester, about the 2300 block of Winchester and Ashland.
As far as metal detecting goes, a mine lab metal detector does not work that good in this area.
No.
Our ground is too mineralized. You put it down, beep, beep, honk, honk, you know, and it just won't balance out. The mine lab's a great piece of equipment if you're in dry country like Arizona.
You're out there where it's
For the
all,
$3,500 you're going to spend to $4,500 for a mine lab, save your money on the East Coast.
yeah. A friend of ours bought a mine lab up in Dayton, and he used it for 3 weeks, turned around and sold it and bought him a smaller white.
Yeah.
He said it was useless. He said he'd dig up every square inch of yard out there. It's just,
Even my Gary, if I go down to Georgia where you do everything else, you can't break it down there because, like I said, it just goes nuts with all the minerals.
we have so much mineralization in this east of the Mississippi that it's just,
Is the GPA going to open any new claims on the horizon up in Ohio?
we have 5 claims in Ohio. There are several Ohio prospector claims through the Ohio prospectors over in the Cincinnati area. There's Pure Gold up in Bainbridge, Ohio, well, it's really Humboldt, Ohio. The GPAA is looking to open up claims everywhere. But the rigors that they put you through, because they pay a lot of money a year for each one of those claims, the rigors they put you through to find a claim is tough to actually find one and actually be able to get it open.
Are there any claims in West Virginia?
No, there's no claims to time in West Virginia or Kentucky. Kentucky's another large state that should have some claims open, but they've been denied so far.
That's one of the things I want to work for here.
Is your goal in West
Place in Kentucky.
Yes.
West Virginia.
At least I have.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's hard to find anywhere. You got a lot of red tape, you got to create.
They pay several $1,000s a year per claim, plus they also carry a $1 million liability insurance policy on the claim, so
And,
it's,
as a chapter, we still got to file the nonprofit organization, which, that's a lot of work.
filed at 501c7.
Yeah.
Walt Eastman helped me out. When Walt was out there, Walt helped out a lot. But the 501c7 is an easier one to fill out and try to justify than what 501c5
That's
is.
one reason I wanted to start this chapter, to try to find other claims a little closer to Lucasville. Something here in West Virginia, Kentucky.
Well, really, to be honest with you, you could do everything you need to do without filing a 501c7. The only thing that allows you to do is when you go to the gold shows, to be able to sell raffle tickets at the gold show. Other than that, we ran for several years without one. We went through a lot of the gold shows and they never even asked us for a 501c7. So it's very expensive to have a lawyer do it. You're going to pay approximately $1,500 to $2,000. So as long as you keep run your chapter, and who knows when we're going to get a gold show back in the area.
I'm trying to get them to maybe put one back here once we're looking at it.
Yeah.
But,
Well, they promised us in Ohio the last 3 years they were supposed to have Dayton back again. Well, I think it is because Cindy likes to go antique shopping. And there's an antique shop she loves in Dayton. A couple of our members work Alaska and they're good friends with Tom and Cindy. And they talked to me the other day and said Cindy's really trying to pressure Tom into going back to Dayton because she wants to go to the antique fleet.
They always had a pretty good turnout there too, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they always said Dayton actually had better turnouts than a lot of them out west. They would have approximately 2,500 people show up at Dayton each time they had it. I appreciate it. Now we talked, yes. Did you have something you wanted to ask? Oh, okay. If anybody has any other questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
I'm not saying that's the best panner in the world and all that.
Now I've got a building big enough to have
Good morning, afternoon. My name's Larry Floyd. I've been doing this since 95, 96. I said 10 years. I've forgotten about time since I became a senior. But I heard the gentleman talking about the gold with mercury. There's several examples, and this looks like a lot of gold, but there's a lot of work here, a lot of hours. You find one or two flecks. I found down at Thermal Mountain was one of the best ones I ever did find, and I don't know which one it is because I just put everything together. But I put one shovel full on his panning part, and I worked that down and got down to my black sand, and that Carolina, Georgia black sand's pretty heavy and it sticks in there pretty good. So I got down to the bottom and I swished that thing around, and there was probably 3 or 4 pennyweight, just 20 or 30 flecks all at one time out of that one shovel, and that is very, very unusual that you find it like that. I accused, and I can't remember his name there at Thermal. He's a real funny character to work with and be with around. But I accused him of salting that load of dirt, but it really would come out of his bottom down there as he picks it up out of the old riverbed and just brings it up there and dumps it. Needless to say, I didn't find any more that day that much. It's usually one fleck at a time. But I heard somebody say about the experience of seeing gold. I remember one of my first big outings I went to was up at Belleville. And here again, I forget names and faces real fast. I know I've been around this gentleman here at one time or another. I am a member of that field up at Lucasville. I can't even remember, at Southwest Southern Ohio. I get my card every year, and they're good for sending out the mailings. And I'm just not good for getting there. It's worth it to join the group. But I was going to tell you about the first piece I found. I was panning up at Belleville, working that lower bar right there below the campground. I think everybody in the world has worked that bar. but I was running it to a sluice out in the river, and I seen the stupid thing go down, and it goes through the pan. And it was, I don't know, it was one of these larger pieces, and like I said, I started identifying where I got it from now, but I mixed everything together, so it could have came from anywhere from Indiana or that. But it was a larger piece. I got as big a thrill as that. I used to hunt all the time. I hunted. I was lucky enough to be in a profession where I could go to different hunting areas and, where they say, okay, don't shoot anything under 8 points. Now that gets your blood thick up there, because you're looking at 3 or 4 year old deer, and he's well fed and out beyond his years. And I got as big a thrill finding that first piece of gold. I quit hunting. This was more fun. And it was easier because I was sitting in a chair shoveling that dirt out from underneath those rocks through that sluice. Having my wife bring a bucket full over to me, and I'd run it through the sluice. But I brought this along just to show you. If you haven't had gold fever, it's a bad, bad disease, and there's no cure for it. Other than join the GPAA. There's no shots for it. But that's how I got involved. And Tom and his dad, and his mother is the one who finally signed me up on LDAMA. She was a salesperson. Once she had you in a chair, you weren't going to get away from her until you signed on the bottom line and gave them some money. But back in those old days, it was pretty easy to join, and it's still easy now. It costs a little bit more, but it's well worth it. Any questions, I'll be glad to ask them. I will let you look at this. I do stand very close to the tray. I've been. There is armed guards in the building. I've been at shows before, and the young lady from down at Georgia, and I can't remember her, Tammy, and I seen her lose about 2 ounces of gold off her table. It was there 1 minute, and she come back, and it was gone. And had no idea when crowded people was going around. So thank you for letting me have time. It was unplanned, but I do enjoy this. Look forward to going out and having an adventure with some of you. This next gentleman's going to speak, Fred Hitchings. He and I got in together, and we went, I don't know where we first met. Was it up at Belleville? And then we got together.
I don't know.
And then we ended up there up at side, right?
So
Yeah. Out in the river digging a hole. We always was going to get together, but our working schedules at that time was just impossible. And even now with me, I do drive for one of the car dealerships, and I don't know where I'm going to be working. It's difficult to plan anything right now. Thank you, and I'll turn it back to Joe. I'll talk for hours, Joe.
I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Fred Hitchens. Me and him have known each other since I won't go back.
We were in first grade together.
That's a long time ago. So I'm going to let Fred explain about his little territory here.
Yeah. So what do they say? The difference between men and boys is the toys. So this particular machine, it's called a trommel. It works like a piece of high banking equipment. It has a sluice box, but with a trommel, basically you just take buckets of dirt or shovels of dirt, and you just drop it in. It separates the dirt. The dirt goes down, and your gold goes down through the punch plates. Your big rocks and things go through the basket. It's a wash plant. It washes your rocks, and your rocks and gems. I've even last month, a piece of diamond had come off of here. Of course, most of the time I'm the person that's looking at for gems and other rocks. But these particular machines, they're going in production with them. A fellow that designed this, his name's Bobby Elkins. He's Jack Rouse Racing's chief fabricator. He's going to be starting selling these in August, first of the month. They're going to be $3,500 a copy, half down, the other half on delivery if anyone's interested. And I thought, I used to own a 4-inch dredge, but coming back from Vane Mountain last month, the fellow's going to Alaska, and he decided he needed it more than I did. But,
Do you have to classify it before you put it in there? Before you put it in the hopper?
No, you literally just take buckets of dirt. A high banker is a good piece of equipment. I used to own it before I got this. He built 6 prototypes. This is actually prototype number 5, but they're all going to look identical to this. But you literally just take your dirt, drop it down, the rocks come off of one end, but this thing operates so fast. You need at least a minimum of 4 people to operate it, if not 12. Down at Vane Mountain in 4 days, we dropped over 1,500 5-gallon buckets of dirt. In 5-gallon buckets of dirt, 35-gallon buckets of dirt's a cubic yard. Do the math. We moved a lot of material. So like I said, I don't know if anyone's interested in perhaps purchasing. If we had some place where we could, creek bank, we could set it up. I know to me it's pretty self-explanatory, but really until you see the one operate, and that's what we need to do. I know there's people in here that are just beginners. They need to see how dredge works. They need to see how a high banker works, how a trauma works.
So that's what I want to try to get it set up with this group. Because like me, I've never run one of these. I've been around them, but never run one.
It's a blast.
The weekend prospector is what I am, like everybody else around here doing on the weekends. There's always room for advancement, always room to learn more. That's what I want to try to emphasize on this chapter here. It's going to be a learning chapter. We're not just going to meet and dig for gold. We go out as a group. To say, for instance, we may set it up sometime to go to Lucasville out at Ray's, the claim out there where Ray goes to all the time. As a group, we go out, we have our little outing, come back, we learn more at the meetings. I wish I did have a creek here close where we can set this thing up. Just like Fred, he'll bring this out for us, set it up, show us how it works. All of y'all got to look at some of the stuff up front.
July 30th. This month.
You can see some of the equipment I brought. The blue bowl up there is what they call a desert fox. It's used to separate the gold and sand, but you're not going to separate all of it. Then I've got the sleuth box, and I built the little Power sleuth box. Less than $100, I built that little box. There were 2 loads of buckets. It's something you run the smaller concentrates down. But we're still looking for members to join our group here. I want to get it set up. We've got officers still, positions still open in the group. We need chapter reps. Well, most of you, I think, belong to a chapter. You got opportunity. Right now, we just got the president, secretary, treasurer, vice president. So I need everybody else. So if you want to volunteer?
How many people here actually right now belong to DVA?
There's a few of us. It's like I said, this is a bigger turnout than what I expected. Because of the last 2, I advertised a little bit, but there was nobody showed up. It's thanks to GPAA. They got off their can, sent the cards out, and I interviewed for the paper. I'm sure some of you have seen it in the paper. But I'm not going to keep y'all much longer because I know it's hot and everybody's getting tired of standing. If you have any questions, you come up and ask me or Fred.
Larry Floyd.
That's the first time I've met Larry, so. But Ray, anybody, you have any questions, all you gotta do is come up and ask.
When's your next meeting?
Next meeting, our meetings will be set up the second Saturday of every month. And then if we have something special, we can vote on it. We can go out and meet somewhere. There's a park over here in town, we can meet at it. Lake Rhinelander. I just have to get permission to go over and see how it works out. Like I said, it's good. There's a lot of exercise in it. You'll learn a lot. I'm getting ready to try to build a mini sloot box. People know the flea market here want me to set up a small sloot box out front for the kids to learn to pan. I'm trying to work with it. I'm trying to even some of the teachers over here at Nitro want me to come in and talk to them in the elementary. Bring some gold samples and have them look at it. Pan for gems. So I'm trying to get the gemstones now, which are a little expensive, semi-precious. And actually put them in a little bag like you do down south. Then run it through a little strainer. And get to keep the actual product. And if y'all have any ideas on how to do fundraising, we need help all the way around. We are a new chapter. I'm sure Jim's probably going through the same problem over on Route 2. It's hard to get a chapter started. And especially when you got to travel so far. But I'd like y'all to thank Ray, everybody else for showing up today. And as far as I'm concerned, our meeting will be next Saturday. You're going to have to go in for 50-50. You all want to get your tickets out.
Then the next Saturday is our meeting.
Front part here, actually will come off. Transport it, stick it to the front. You can.
Got a ticket in there, I'm gonna read the number.
All right, this first ticket is for either the 2009 box set or half the cash.
I'm gonna read the last three numbers. 047. 047. Who's got 047 tickets? 047. Okay. You have a choice between the half the money or that box set over there. Go and see Joe. Joe, this gentleman right here is the winner.
You got the choice of either Gold Fever Show or Select. All right. Hey. Okay, we're going to draw for the next prize, which is 4250. So lift it up, we'll let you do
This is going to be 050.
050. Okay. Billy, put your name down over here. All right, so next drawing. This is an honest man.
Do that back to the golf cart.
Now, I'm not sure this is good because at our last meeting, one guy won all three items.
That's happening. All right, this is for a.
50 of us.
This is for a gold pan and a snuffer bottle. Last four digits is 8054.
8054.
All right, last one. We'll let you draw it.
Oh. I didn't get a ticket.
I didn't either.
I didn't know they had them. There they are. I'll take a
Okay.
picture of the winning ticket there.
All right, this is for another gold pan and snuffer bottle. Last four digits, 8104. That's for gold pan and snuffer bottle. next month will be the second Saturday. We'll have the same time, 2 o'clock. Hopefully, pictures on the movie.
Dad.
Got it.
Sorry. Sorry about that. All right, if y'all listen up again.
It's not.
Listen up. We're all listening to Jim. Okay, next month, the meetings are set up for the second Saturday of every month at 2 o'clock. Like I said, hopefully I can have some chairs, but if not, maybe you might want to bring some armchairs. I apologize for that, I really do. But if you want to join our group, you can actually go over to West Virginia Gold Seekers on Facebook and join the group there. We're also on Gold Prospectors with an S space, spell out the whole word. Join their group, which they're based out of Ashland, Ohio. There's also a claim out there that you can go to. And that's one, they go by 10G.
Which they all work on.
You can go on that group, join their group. There's like 35 different groups and more on there now. And join the West Virginia Gold Seekers on there. We get on there, we chat back and forth, discuss areas where we look for gold, treasure hunt, a little bit of everything. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. And hopefully next month, I'll have somebody else come in and speak, maybe more than I do. It wouldn't be very much. But I appreciate y'all coming out.